Tim here, Ouray Mountain Misfits. I have a project that Kelly and I have wanted to do for a little while now, and I think this is a good time to do the video because the weather here is not great. It's snowing and in the 20s outside. So this project's an indoor project, and it has kind of a background. We bought a antique piece of lumber for our fireplace mantle, and we really liked that, and so we wanted to carry that thought through the house a little bit. And one of the projects we wanted to do was to face out our kitchen island with antique lumber and add that just rustic touch to the home. This area here, the full face of the island will be antique lumber, as well as wrapping around the side here to where the cabinets are. And that project is what we're going to be taking on now. We're lucky in that here, about 15-20 minutes from our house, is a company. It's American Antique Lumber, and they have millions of board feet. And you can go in there and you can get everything from antique flooring to, like we're going to do, cover a wall, to you can buy complete structures there. They have structures that they deconstructed and then salvaged all the timbers from, and you can purchase those. And they actually do milling there, and they dry wood, and they do a number of things. I'll talk more about that towards the end of the video and give you the information on this company. But that's what we're going to do, and that's what this video is about, and we hope you like it. So as you can see here, we painted the drywall a darker color, and the reason for that is when you install the antique wood, there are imperfections, cracks, maybe knot holes. The wood's not perfect. That's the reason we're putting it up there, is because it's got that old look to it. But if you paint the back of the wall underneath the wood a darker color, what happens is if you have any of those gaps, those cracks, those imperfections, you don't have a white wall showing through. You have a darker color and it blends in, and so you don't notice what's behind the wall. You just notice the beauty of the wood itself. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put together a cut list, and I'm just going to use a piece of paper and a pen and do some measuring and put together a list of materials that I'll need for the wall. In particular, the trim boards that are going to be here and on the sides, and framing out the slats, the long boards, and then I can use that to go outside and make some cuts and bring the wood in and then mount it. I wanted to show you this wood before we get going on this project and give you an idea of what we're dealing with. This wood is from about 1750 to 1850 as far as date. The structures that were taken down, it's got the rough sawn marks in it, old nail holes, imperfections, occasional split. This wider board is going to be used for corners and baseboard on the bottom, and then this wood is going to be used for the main horizontal slats that go on the face. And you can see it's got a lot of character too, the saw marks and imperfections, knots, that kind of thing. And the really cool part here is the company we bought it from, American Antique Lumber, they actually do this planing on the edge so that it fits together and locks together real tight. And you can see that's on both sides. The back side is actually where they cut it off the lumber that they started with. But anyway, that's the wood we're going to be using, and we'll get going here shortly. Okay, I mocked up the corners just to see how it's going to look, and you can see the character of the wood already is coming out. A lot of imperfections. There's some bug burrowing there, and the saw marks, some old paint. I mean, it's got everything going on. I've actually got a chop saw set up outside the garage on the driveway, and I'm cutting lumber there and then bringing it in the house. One thing I have to do at this point is to mark where all the stud locations are on the front of this so that I know where my nailing surfaces are, and I'll have you go along with me as I do that. Okay, I marked the studs so I know exactly where I can use as a nailing surface for the wood. One other thing I might mention is that since we built the house, I've got some pictures of when the house was just framed, and I checked back over those pictures and I saw exactly where the framing and the wiring itself is behind the wall. That helps because you don't want to start damaging wiring or plumbing or any of that kind of stuff. But anyway, I got to go outside and I'll be right back. Okay, so the antique wood has been installed. The project is basically done. Included in that project is also the tear out of the base molding, that type stuff at the beginning of the project, and then at the end of the project. If you have any outlets that are in with the wood, you have to cut out for those when you install the wood, and then you'll also have to face out the outlets and get covers for those, which we did, and those are installed. So I wanted to go over just briefly what this project cost and the tools that are needed for the project. The wood itself we got the wood at American Antique Lumber. Cost a total of $568, and I purchased 34 square feet of the horizontal wood, and the trim wood was about 21 linear feet that I purchased on that. Again, this wood is anywhere from 200 to 300 years old. It is very, very dense wood, so if you're used to cutting dimensional lumber that you get from the big box store, this is nothing like that. You actually need to make sure that whatever saw you're using, you have a brand new blade in it, and I would go with a cabinet blade, a high tooth count blade, and then miscellaneous items like the finish nails for installing the wood. Add another $20 or so for that. So the total comes in at about $590, give or take. And that's for the total project. The tools needed would be a cutoff saw and a table saw. And you can get away without using a cutoff saw and a table saw if you're real good at measuring and cutting. And you can use a circular saw and a speed square to do the same cutting, but it's a lot more difficult. You need a speed square, finish nailer. You can use a pneumatic nailer. You can use one of the cordless nailers, or if you're really good, you can use finish nails and a hammer, and I've done that before for some cabinet work, but it sure goes a lot quicker if you have a finish nailer that's pneumatic or cordless. You'll need a hammer. I also like to have a mallet, a rubber mallet, because there are times when you want to use a mallet instead of a hammer because it won't damage your tools and it won't do the same amount of damage to the wood. A tape measure, a good tape measure, and I also used a torpedo level to make sure that everything was horizontal and vertical, that type thing. So anyway, just to wrap it up, the project is something that Kelly and I wanted to do after we built the house. An estimate for doing it was $2,000, and we did it for under $600 doing it ourselves. The project came out really nice. The wood was really kind of unique to work with, and I can't say enough about the supplier we got the wood from. Super people. It's again American Antique Lumber Company, and they're at 2080 Highway 550 in Montrose, Colorado, 81403. Their phone number is 970-249-4848. I encourage you to visit their website. It's under American Antique Lumber Company, and check out what they offer. Every piece of wood that they get comes from suppliers they've used for years, and the wood, when it comes into their business, they take that wood, all of it, and they sticker it, stack it, and they put it in a dryer to make sure that the humidity is down in the wood. And yes, even though it's really old wood, it can have a high moisture content. So they make sure that's squared away, and they flatten the wood, and then they mill the wood themselves too. They do projects for people from anything from doing mantles for fireplaces, to flooring, to wall coverings, to complete structures they sell. They get in complete structures, the beams and posts for those structures, and they sell those as a kit. You can buy those, and they'll mill anything you want. They do custom milling. They do projects for people. The flooring they have is, I'm telling you, it's absolutely beautiful. And they have millions of board feet of lumber there. If you have a specific need, they don't have it, they will make it for you. And I found that if I priced out some of the options that we had at the big box store for lumber that would look antique, it really wasn't that much cheaper. It was still between $400 and $500, and you don't get the character. When I was cutting this wood, I found that some of the boards that I was cutting, when you cut it with your saw, you had unique smells. One of the ones that I really enjoyed was, if you've ever been to an old tobacco farm back east in the south, the smells are just incredible. And you'd cut this wood and that old tobacco smell would come out. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. And the wood was easy to work with. There was very little loss. You do have some splitting and some uneven ends. You have to take care of that. But honestly, it was a great project to do. I'd do it over again in a heartbeat. I'd actually do more of it in our house. If Kelly decides she wants to do that, I'd have no problem doing that. I think it adds a really rustic feel to the house, and we are out in the middle of the country, so it goes along with where we live, and you can't beat this. Anyway, I'm glad you came along for the project. If you have any questions, let us know, because I'd like to pass on any information I have. I apologize for the videos. The camera that we use is kind of less than reliable, and then we also had a huge major snowstorm. We got a couple of feet of snow, and I spent some time that I would have been spending on the project outside taking care of that snow. And given our driveway is almost a quarter of a mile long, and then it's another quarter of a mile to the main road, it's a lot of plowing, and luckily we had a tractor and we could do that, but still it's a lot of work. Anyway, Ouray Mountain Misfits, we're going to be publishing a couple more videos here in the near future, so stay tuned. We got a couple more projects that are coming online, and we'll let you know about those, and hopefully you'll come and watch. Thank you. Bye.